What's up everyone, it's Caddy with Money Investing. So here with another live stream on the day. The futures market are slightly down and so are we for a lot of stocks pre-market. So we're gonna do this live stream for maybe about an hour and a half until market opens. We got about 30 minutes left for the markets to open. Give me 1 minute while I send this link out to our Discord members. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate your guys' support. Make sure that you drop a like and let me know in the live chat if you guys can hear me without any issues, if you guys can see the screen, and we should be good to go. I've got a notepad on the side, if you guys will notice on the left, because we will be going over a lot of stocks. We will be going over a lot of technical patterns, so I will be breaking down a lot of stocks for you guys because that's what it's all about. It's about you guys, and we'll be talking about a lot of different tickers today. So all right. So sending this to our Discord members and we are good. Perfect. All right. Can hear you and see the screen. Looks good, sounds good. Martin, thank you. Thank you so much. What's up? How's everybody doing? So thank you so much for joining in. I've got Bloomberg on my earpiece. If there's anything interesting going on, I will bring it on. But the NASDAQ down about 44 basis points right now. We got the S&P 500 down about 32 basis points. We are seeing a little bit of a pullback. Andrew, welcome on board. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning. Will Nike break resistance? Ming will break down Nike as well. Better Music, good morning to you as well. Good morning, Talvinder Singh. Thank you so much for joining. So we broke down the FOMC meeting in a lot of detail. Earlier, about an hour ago, I posted a video. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to watch that video, highly encourage you to do that. We'll give you guys a quick summary on what was discussed. In a nutshell, Zach, good morning everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are watching from. It's about 6:30 p.m. here. So depending on where you're watching from, good morning or good evening. So today, a good day to buy. Well, yesterday I bought a lot. So yesterday, when NEO was down a little bit over 2%, I bought a little bit. I added it to the Discord alerts. So no matter what the Fed did, said the market was going down. I feel like whether it was keeping the same schedule or on rates or not. Yeah, June and July has been a little bit of choppy months to begin with. March historically has also been a month where we've seen a lot of choppiness. April historically has been a month where we've seen greens. And September has also been a really bad month for the markets. But October, November, December, kind of like the holiday season, has been really bullish for the markets. It's had a really uptrend and we have pushed up. Can you do technical analysis on platinum? Yes, platinum commodity. Really, Ali? That's a great suggestion. I'll definitely look into that. Yes, can see from the Discord. Perfect. Awesome. All right. So in a nutshell, what did the Fed talk about? They basically said that they're going to keep rates unchanged. If you look at the dot plot, let me actually bring that up very quickly. So we're going to go over to Federal Reserve's FOMC meeting. All right, so you go over here, search for that, and the Federal Reserve calendar. So you're going to go down here. We're going to scroll down a little bit. Well, this is not where I want to be, so let's go back. All right, so here we are, and this is the meeting that we're talking about, right? June 15, 16. We're going to click over here, so that's the projection materials. This gives us a good understanding on what they actually think for the next 3 years out. So they're talking about 2021 and 2022 and 2023. Next 3 years. Well, 2.5 years because this year is almost over. Yes, the initial claims are also coming out today, so 8:30 a.m. We didn't quite get over that, but thanks so much, Ranjit, for covering that. So unemployment 412,000. 360,000 expected, so we are coming a little bit higher than expectations. All right, so change in GDP. They have revised some of their estimates. They're going up to as high as 7%, so that's coming in from 6.5% earlier. That was back in March. Unemployment, they're expecting that to stay steady at 4.5% and to be averaged around 4% unemployment in the longer run. PCE inflation, this is where things get really interesting. You'll notice that they have actually revised their estimate to the upside. It's only because CPI came in hotter than expected, PPI came in hotter than expectations, so they've actually done that by a full 1 percentage point. Not 50 basis points, not 75 basis points, by a full 1%. From 2.4% to 3.4% in less than 2 months. So this was March projections. April and May numbers came out. and this is June's meeting. They're going up by 1%. So here's my take. Nobody knows where inflation is going to be, right? Not me, not you, not the Fed. No institution, no money manager knows where inflation is going to be. This is an estimate, right? This is an expectation from the people. And inflation kind of works, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because a lot of people, when they think that inflation is going to go up in the future, what they do is they buy today because they think that prices are going to go up in the future. Might as well buy now. And when a lot of people start doing that, prices actually do go up because a lot of people are thinking the same way. If people think that prices are going to go down in the future, what they do is they hold off on making that purchase, thinking that prices are going to come down. And when a lot of people start doing that, they hold the demand artificially, and eventually what happens, prices do come down. So this is very important for us to always have an expectation of inflation in the future. Core PCE also going up about 80 basis points, not quite as aggressively as the total PCE. That's the personal consumption expenditures. So, the CPI, the PPI, those are like headline numbers, but the Federal Reserve actually tracks what's known as a PCE inflation. And this right here is going to be the federal funds rate. So that's going to be the interest rates at 2.5%. And they're anchored at 2.5% over the long run, but 0.1 in 2021, 2022. And look at this, 2023, revising their estimate by 0.5%. And that's coming in from 0.1 to 0.6, because a lot more Federal Reserve FOMC members now expect interest rates to go up. So if you guys remember our previous video where we covered these dot plots from the March projections, you'll notice that 2020 we only had 4 people. Now we have 7 people. In 2023 we had 7 people. Now we have 13 people. So 13 members. So more and more members are actually looking to increase rates in the future. And of course, longer run, pretty much everyone across the board thinks that rates are going to be somewhere between 2 to 3%. One of the things that I would mention is that the economy is, one of the most difficult things to actually handle. There's always ripple effects, whether you tweak the interest rates, whether you tweak your expectations. There's always upside and downside, regardless of what side of the trade or what you're choosing to do. So it's very challenging to do. And I know the Fed receives a lot of criticism, but in my strong opinion, they actually did do a really good job in stepping in when they had to step in last year. If they hadn't, the economy would have been at a much, much worse place. I mean, unemployment would have been through the roof. The fact that they stepped in, they provided a lot of liquidity to the markets. I think they don't get enough credit for what they actually did. Now, of course, estimates and expectations for future are very difficult. Nobody knows how to actually understand fully and get a good grasp of what inflation is going to look like in the future. That's just my 2 cents, but I think they did a really good job in managing, sort of like the economy when it comes to the labor market, and making sure that we are achieving or on our way to achieve full employment, maximum employment when it comes to participation, when it comes to the average hourly earnings, so on and so forth. So, and of course, it's coming at the cost of providing a lot of liquidity and a lot of sort of, money into the markets, pumping a lot of fiscal stimulus. But, if we don't do that, then we're in a very, very much worse situation, because, then we have 25-30% unemployment rate. People are struggling to find jobs. Right now, it's the whole different situation where we have a lot of jobs, but not a lot of people to actually work for those jobs. But anyway, so the Nasdaq down about 50 basis points, and the S&P is down also 32 basis points. They are now starting to get a hold of, what that inflation expectations are going up from the Fed, and inflation, of course, CPI and PPI are also running hotter than expectations. Now, that being said, when you look at under the hood, what's actually driving inflation? It's 1/3 of it coming in from used cars, vehicles, because newer vehicles are awaiting parts when it comes to chip shortages, supply chain issues. So, we are seeing 1/3 of it being driven by used cars and vehicles. Of course, a lot of it also coming in from gasoline prices, energy, airline tickets. So a lot of things that do benefit from the reopening of the economy, because a lot of demand is getting flushed into the economy. So, all right. Now that I've done with the Federal Reserve and the inflation expectations, let's take a look at the VIX. We are up a little bit over 2.2%, trading past over 18.5 levels. The support level that we talked about was 15.8. If you guys go back a few videos, we've talked about how the VIX was reluctant to drop below this support. and a push higher or a spike was on the horizon, right? It wasn't something that we knew 100% guaranteed is going to happen, but it was something that we need to be alerted for because we are hitting some type of a support. And of course, 19 closer to 20 levels is going to be the next resistance. The high for the day is almost 19 levels. And which is obviously what's causing the S&P and the NASDAQ to come down slightly more. And when we take a look at the yields, so I'm going to go over the 10-year yields over here very quickly before we jump into all the stocks. So this right here is going to be the 10-year yields. It's interesting that we are down a little bit over 1.3%, and the NASDAQ and the S&P are still down. This is the much stronger move from the bond market, which we saw, in 2020 coming into 2021. Starting in August, we have jumped a little bit over 257%, and more recently, you'll notice that we have started to come down, making lower highs and lower lows. So inverse relationship, right? So when bond prices push up, equity prices push up, yields come down. When bond prices come down, equity prices come down, yields push up, right? That's kind of like the main sort of phenomenon how the markets function in terms of bonds and equities. All right, let's go over some stocks now. I'm going to start with NEO. This is the notepad. We are going to fill this up all the way to the bottom from the tickers that you guys mentioned. So all I ask from you guys in return is that you smash that like button. We've got just about 300 people watching and only 41 likes. So let's get that number to at least 200 because I'm going to break down a lot of different tickers for you guys. All right, so NEO, let's take a look. Down about 0.5%. We added NEO yesterday, I think at closer to $43.70 or closer to $44. Again, the alert was sent out to all of our members only because we were down a little bit over 2% from those levels, and we closed at $45. Now, I've mentioned two stronger support levels for NEO at $43 all the way as low as $40. 43, I would be buying some more. $40 would be a more aggressive buying opportunity for myself. Again, depending on whether you're long term or taking that as a swing trade, I would watch those two support levels for NEO at closer to 43 all the way as low as $40. And NEO has done an incredible job pushing up over 55% from its lows back in the middle of May when it was trading at roughly $30. So support levels I would put down 43 and $40 per share, and resistance is going to stay put at 46.30 levels, and you'll notice that we have gone rejected at that level not once but twice. So this is a resistance coming in from March 15th and 16th, and also more recently coming in from June 14th. So we got it rejected at that level, and in fact we even covered that during our live stream. It looks blurry. May need a camera focus, or is it just my eyes? Is the camera not focused right now? All right, let me know if the camera is focused. It's right in the middle. It should be working without any issues. All right, camera is good. Let's take a look at another stock here. So when will AMD trend upwards? So AMD, I feel like it's again very strongly mispriced by the markets. So we are up. So that's good. We're up about 25 basis points. $80 fighting. So there's a really strong fight at $80 per share between the bulls and the bears. And you'll notice that even yesterday we dipped all the way down to 78.96, but we ended up closing just over $80 per share. And you can just tell. I mean, there's buyers and sellers fighting for that support. Whether we're going to break down, that's what the sellers want. Whether we're going to stay above that level, that's what the bulls want. And right now we are seeing a bullish flag being formed. So right now we just have to wait and see whether we actually do close below $50 per share, $80 per share, or if we do see a successful breakout of the upside. If we do, there's two resistance levels to watch, 84 all the way as $88 per share. And of course, with AMD, with the supply chain issues and the chip shortages, that's been the biggest concern for advanced micro devices. But it's incredible how this company is trading under $100 billion market cap. It's just, it just out of this world how much mispricing I'm seeing personally for this company because of the undervaluation, because consistently growing revenues, strong management, profitable company with great margins, increasing guidance, and a strong balance sheet, and this just doesn't deserve the love that it doesn't get the love that it deserves. All right, but anyway, so AMD will keep that support sitting at roughly at $80. And resistance, of course, sits at $84 per share. That's also aligned with that 200 simple moving average. And right now, it's just a waiting game. Whether it comes down to 74, I will be adding more shares for AMD stock. All right, let's take a look at Twilio. So Twilio is another stock that we have covered in the past in, I think, some of my previous videos when I combined Twilio and Palantir and CrowdStrike. I think it should be on this chart. So, it's not here either. Is it on the weeklies? Probably is on the weeklies. All right, so yeah, here it is. So Twilio had a breakdown below the head and shoulders pattern, and this right here was a perfect retest of a support at close to 275. Previous resistance. So if I were to extend this line, you'll notice that we have a previous resistance at 275, backtested support before us making a move to the upside, and now a near-term support is going to be sitting roughly at $320 per share. That's the support level I would watch, and now you'll notice that we are starting to form these higher lows for Twilio as well. So that level is going to be perfectly aligned with the higher lows and the horizontal support at closer to 320, and the resistance roughly sits at $340 per share. So you'll notice that we are getting rejected at this level, but right now the buyers are doing a good job kind of pushing higher the lows that we're forming. So we're obviously not going as low as we did the previous time. So this could be seen as some type of an ascending pattern or ascending triangle, so to speak, where we do see eventually a breakout over 340 to retest highs of 375. That's going to be the resistance moving forward. So support level I would put down as 320, and resistance is going to stay put at closer to 340 levels. If you get a clean breakout over that level on heavy volume, then I could see some more continuation follow through up to 375. All right, so let's take a look at platinum. Somebody wants to take a look at platinum. So I haven't really looked into platinum probably ever on the channel. We've looked into gold, we've looked into silver, but platinum is going to be something new. I'll have to find the actual ticker here. So it's going to be CFDs, platinum US dollar. Wow, so it's coming down. It's coming down from the all-time. It's probably going to be all-time high. So let's go over to the monthly chart. It's not all-time highs. So all-time highs for platinum sits at well over $2,300 per ounce. Okay, so the unit for platinum is also ounce. Significant drop coming in from 08, so that makes sense. That was the housing bubble. We saw a 66% drop for platinum. And then right now I could see a very clear support level for platinum at closer to $760. Validated during the 2008 burst, housing bubble burst, validation in November, July, December 2018, another validation coming in from June of 2004, and right now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback once again. So the support level, in my opinion, near term is going to be this level right here, at closer to about $1,060, because previously you'll notice that this is a support that we validated coming in from October of 06. So we broke out, we backtested that support here. So it was more like we broke out, we backtested that support here before making the next leg up higher. So that is the support I would watch for platinum, Ali, if you're looking to actually get in on this, 1,060. But if you do see a more persistent breakdown for this commodity, again, considering the commodity prices have actually rallied quite a bit. So again, April 2020, this thing is up, over 82%. Considering inflation and all those different things, if you do see a breakdown, then the next support to watch is going to be 760. That's going to be a much stronger level of support sitting right here. Again, validated several times over the last, I should say, like 16, 17 years. So again, two support levels for platinum that we're going to be watching. I'm just going to put down plat. We don't have enough space. So support at 1,060 all the way as low as 760. And the resistance we're going to put down at closer to this 200 simple moving average on the weekly chart at closer to 1210. All right, so let's go over to DraftKings. DraftKings is a stock that we did purchase, I think 2 days ago, or a couple days ago, when it was down, based on the short report that came out. We actually did purchase it during the live stream. And we got it at, I believe, closer to $45. Could be wrong, but I think it was roughly around $45 to $46. This was the huge drop for Palantir. They also issued a statement. They basically mentioned that they've looked into SB Tech and they worked with them for years, and they didn't find anything that was wrong with the company. Whoever's shorting this stock, they can't speak to that, but as long as SB Tech is concerned and the acquisitions, they didn't find anything wrongdoing with the company and the partner that they have. So, ARK Invest bought a huge amount of shares. So let me see if I can actually see the news section here. So this is all from June 16th. Let's just scroll down a little bit. Let's see if we can find that catalyst. So again, this was the shares drop after a critical report from short seller Hindenburg Research. Merger partner SB Tech, extensive dealings in black market gaming, money laundering, and organized crime is what the report basically says. And this is what the frustrating part is. I mean, you're just making all these accusations to bring these companies down just because you're short, and that's why people hate hedge funds, because of these practices. But nonetheless, I think Kathy would also bought a significant amount of DraftKings. But since then, you'll notice that we have pushed up back up to over $48. If you go over to the 4-hour chart, you'll notice that we are still in this downtrend. Let me see if I can bring that chart up over here. All right, so we got about 15 minutes left for the markets to open. All right, so this right here is the complete analysis. Yes, the reason we bought it at 44 was because it was a support level. So yeah, so now I remember it. So it was getting validated from January levels at 44.55, closer to those levels. And a lot of buying pressure kicked in. I think this was the most volume that DraftKings has seen in a really long time, coming in from like October 2020. Right, so this was the most volume that we saw, and we pushed up. So the resistance level to watch is going to be $55, and support to watch for DraftKings is going to be sitting roughly at 44.50 levels. So if we do get a retest of 44.50, I'd be a buyer at those levels. If you do see a resistance at 55.50, I mean, depending on whether it's a long term or a swing trade for you, that would be a position where you would want to trim a little bit. Video is breaking up. Let me refresh that, see if it works. All right, is it better? Is it better now, the video quality, or is it still lagging? All right, am I frozen now? All right, let me see if I can reload this. This is really frustrating. I'm sorry, you guys. God, this is so frustrating. It's the story of my life, you guys. To deal with so many internet power issues, it's unbelievable. And according to Indian standards, I do have the best of the best Wi-Fi. Apparently it's not that best. Let me know if you guys can see the screen now, if you guys can hear me. If it's lagging anymore. Still lagging. Audio working but not video. God, this is so frustrating. This is still having issues. Frozen from Singapore and Malaysia. um, no video? God, this is so frustrating. Is it working now? Alright, works. I'm back. Okay. Alright, good. Alright, let me just go through all the comments here. Alright, lagging here, lagging there, working now. Alright, perfect. Good. Yeah, we you know, one thing you guys have to remember is that if you're live here on my channel, there's always going to be challenges related to the internet and the power, because power can go out any second here in India, and also we can have an internet break anytime here in India. All right, so DraftKings support 4450, resistance 55 at 50 levels, right? That's the range, and if it does come down to 4455, I'd be a buyer. If it does go up a little bit longer, push up to 55.45, depending on whether it's a swing trade, that would be a good position to actually lock in some gains, or if this is a long-term play for you, then you really don't mind just holding it for the long term. So all right, everything works great over there in Boston. That's great. All good. Please continue. All right, more stocks. Let's take a look. What other stocks are we looking at? So AMD to the moon. Let's take a look. Is it up? Oh, so it's up a little bit over 1.6%. That's interesting. It's coming off of a gain from the S&P and the Nasdaq when they're down. That's interesting. Don't worry, just do commentary and we're good. You guys are awesome. All right, QQQs, we are seeing a little bit of a push higher, down only 28 basis points, and of course the SPY is down about 16 basis points. I thought you were in New York. Not anymore. I was there for a couple of years, but moved back. All right, let's take a look at Zillow. Zillow is a good one. So a lot of the housing ones, you know, like Redfin, Zillow, we got Rocket Companies. Actually, Zillow might be gearing up for a push higher here. A lot of it depends on the housing market, of course. You know, that's the most important market we need to understand when we're looking at companies that directly trade off of where the real estate market is going. And when the inventories are so low, the transaction volume also is very low for a lot of these companies. Of course, with interest rates near zero, financing is so cheap that we've seen record refinancing, record home purchases, record housing prices. But that's also led to slower constructions, slower or lower inventory when it comes to real estate. So, you know, that's what's going to drive slower sort of volume transactions on the platforms for these companies like Zillow, Redfin, Opendoor. You know, we've got Rocket Companies, very, very popular for refinancing. But this right here was kind of like a head and shoulders pattern for Zillow. And you'll notice that we are seeing a breakdown from this neckline, which was at the time sitting at closer to 125. We saw a breakdown. Right now we're just hovering at and around this support. I want to say at closer to 107. So 107 is kind of like the level that we're just hovering at. So consistent retest, retest, retest. And on the daily chart, it's very apparent that we're seeing a rejection from that 21 EMA. So that's the 21 exponential moving average. When the 50 EMA also crosses below that 200 SMA, it's also known as a death cross. So that's what we're seeing here for Zillow. You'll notice that we're seeing a little bit of a cross down from the shorter moving average, which is the 50 moving average, crossing down below the 200 SMA. So, you know, that usually does lead to some more downside. So what price earnings is it trading at? Look at that, 642 price to earnings, and price to sales at 8. Again, depending on the forward, is my lag still there? I'll do workhorse after this one. Jason says people are buying house like candy. That's true. that is so true. Like people are buying house like candy. They're willing to pay anything at this point, is what I'm reading. Like 20-30% above ask. But for Zillow, the price to earnings does suggest that this may be a little bit of a premium if you want to get in on this at these levels. But support level is going to be sitting roughly at $106. Coupling, I hope I pronounce your name the right way. For Zillow, if you are looking to get in, I would wait for it to stabilize with the price to earnings, and depending on what the forward PE looks like for the company. Looks like someone is just spamming on Workhorse here. So yeah, I would just wait for the price to earnings to stabilize, at least on a forward PE basis. But support level to watch is going to be sitting roughly at 107, so almost exactly where we're trading. And resistance to watch is going to be sitting $113. That's going to align with that 21 EMA. If you get a successful breakout, then we've got these moving averages for you, closer to $125 per share. So support level at close to 107, two resistance levels to watch at 113, all the way as high as $125 per share. All right, so let's take a look at Workhorse. So Workhorse, still just hovering in between that range. 14 is a support for the company, kind of aligned with those moving averages. I will mention this. So Workhorse is certainly kind of shifting that trend. It's most certainly trading above those moving averages. And the resistance very aligned with that, AMD resistance aligned with that 200 SMA is sitting at 20 or close to 1995. That's the 200 simple moving average, right? So previous resistance, we've gone rejected at that level. And that would be the range for Workhorse. So $14 support, $19.95, $20 resistance, and that's kind of like the range within which I could expect Workhorse to trade for some time. Of course, the USPS contract was a pretty big deal for the company, because without them, we saw a significant pullback for Workhorse. Gosh, lagging again. I do apologize, you guys. I am so sorry. Trying my best here. I mean, I've got the best internet. I've got everything that I need, but it's just, if power goes out, power goes out. If internet breaks up, it breaks up, All right, so Adobe. Adobe is going to be the next one we're going to look into. Adobe is also part of my portfolio that I've purchased. I see a lot of potential for this company. Creative Suite, when we talk about, how many people are using Adobe Premiere Pro, the retention rate for the company is significant. I love software as a service company. The margins are high. Fundamentally, this is a strong play. Like, look at the revenues. Just take a quick look. Increasing revenues consistently. Margins, look at those net income margins, right? Consistently growing. Now at 40%. 40% net income margin for a software as a service company. So Adobe was a no-brainer for me. I think I got it at closer to this support at 424. But moving forward, considering right now the pattern, it's a little bit on the overbought side, right? So it's no surprise the RSI, the MACD are trading at overbought levels. So the support level I would watch at closer to $507 per share. Well, there's going to be a couple of them. The first one is going to be sitting roughly at 520, all the way as low as 500. This resistance at closer to 506. Those right there are going to be two support levels to watch, where I'd be a little bit more inclined to kind of adding more to my position. That would also be aligned with those moving averages as well. So the 21 EMA, the 50 EMA, perfectly aligned with those moving averages. All right, let's take a look at Roblox for Matrix and Brazilian Legend. All right, so RBLX. So Roblox, I think it was down a lot, right? 8% dropped yesterday. This is the support. We're up a little bit over 1.5%. So a huge doji candle, reluctant to break down below the 50 EMA, previous resistance, now starting to act as a back-tested support. The RSI, the MACD on our way down. So, usually when this happens, usually when patterns do break down below the 21 EMA or any type of a moving average or a support, what happens is that they do go back up to kind of retest that old support as a new resistance before continuing on this downtrend. So you'll notice that we validated that moving averages here, we broke out to the upside, we came back down, validated that support, break down. So would not be surprised if we do get a retest of $87, $88 per share before consolidating at this support or eventually breaking down. A lot of it depends on the valuation and specific company catalysts. Um, Not sure if they're gonna have any type of statistics on the company. So price to sales is 44. It's not undervalued by any means, just based on the sales multiple that it's trading at. So support level in the midterm, near term, I would watch is gonna be closer to $82 for Roblox, and resistance to watch is gonna be closer to $88 per share. And that's gonna be aligned with that moving averages, right? So $82 support for Roblox. $88 is going to be the resistance moving forward, kind of aligned with that 21 simple exponential moving average. All right, so we'd love to hear your opinion on UAA. So all right, so let's take a look at UAA here. So Under Armour. All right, so the markets are open. You know, when we get into these, we completely forget about the markets. All right, so let's take a look at the SPY, then we'll kind of continue on, you know, our quest for filling this entire notepad all the way down at the bottom. But the Nasdaq down about 21 basis points here, but we are seeing a little bit of a push higher as soon as the market's open. And SPY is pretty much flat on the day as of this second. We are seeing a lot of buyers come in on heavy volume as well. So there we go. So we are pushing higher. Let's take a look at the VIX. We have pulled back up only 88 basis points. This right here is going to be complete breakdown. So NEO is pretty much flat on the day, with Tesla down about 31 basis points. This right here is going to be Palantir up about 8 basis points, and this right here is going to be Apple down about 15 basis points here. So we are seeing a little bit of a move to the upside, right? So NEO back up over $45, and we are up 0.5%. A lot of buyers kind of stepping in, with the Nasdaq almost turning positive. Roblox is skyrocketing. That's great. So yeah, we can switch Apple to something else. Let's take a look. DraftKings is down slightly. Nvidia is down slightly. Let's put in AMD, because I feel like a lot of people are interested in AMD here. So we're up about almost 1% for AMD, and now we're starting to pull back once again. High for the day, $81. That's interesting, right? And NEO with a strong bullish candle on the 5-minute chart here. Even on the 1-minute chart, we're seeing a lot of momentum. All right, 3 bullish candles here, and for Tesla, up about pretty much flat on the day, but definitely buyers stepping in. Almost the same identical pattern for both NEO and Tesla here. Come to Canada, no immigration issues. I'm trying. I'm trying. I mean, there's still you still have to go through a whole process and stuff, but yeah, but I'm definitely trying. It's lagging so hard. Is it really? Yeah, I think it's stopped again. There we go. Man, I don't know what the issue is with the internet here. I mean, I do have like an Ethernet connection. I just don't know why it just keeps happening. I don't know. All right, so the VIX really dropped hard as soon as the markets opened. We're now down a little bit over 3% right now, and you know, of course, look at the bullish sentiment on the markets, right? The Nasdaq almost flat on the day. SPY is actually up, green now on the day, with the NEO up almost 1%, over 1%. Tesla pretty much flat, and we're seeing a lot of momentum for Palantir. That's up over 36 basis points as well. And for AMD, that's up over 1.5%. So a lot of buyers kind of stepping in. What do you guys think? Are we going to see a breakout over AMD for over $84? What do you guys think? A breakout or a breakdown for AMD? I might have to change my title and the thumbnail because the markets are pushing higher right now. So I think the market has a lot more clarity now. I think you know, it's not going to be more of a choppy reaction to anything because think about this, right? We've got the unemployment data behind us, we've got the inflation data behind us, and we got the FOMC meeting behind us as well. But don't forget, next month everything repeats. because July is another one of those months where we have the FOMC meeting, where we have the inflation data coming out, right? Where we have the unemployment report on the first Friday of the month. We're gonna get the ADP non-farm payrolls, the actual non-farm payrolls from the government. So everything happens once again in July. So July may be another month where we see some more volatility. So yes, I can definitely take a look at Peloton here. So I gotta tell you what I do. Love this channel, and I really love how you go live with these openings. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Glad the videos are helpful. You know, my goal is to provide you guys with as much value as possible and go over specific like fundamentals, technicals, and macros. So there are 3 things that we cover on the channel. Yeah, NIO deserves a breakout. That's for certain. We're up another 1.5% right now. And this trade is going to be Palantir. We're up closer to 26 basis points. Tesla still struggling at closer to $600, and we are up over 26 basis points. Baba has a nice push higher on the day, with the Caterpillar also up closer to 24 basis points. Caterpillar has a support at closer to 216. If you're part of our Patreon, you guys know that. I've written a complete analysis on Caterpillar. Let's take a look at AMC. Right, where's AMC trading? So slightly down about 2% here, 1.87% to be precise. But there is a resistance at close to $60, right? $60 is the resistance for AMC stock. And you know, we struggled to break out over that level not once, not twice, but I think 3 times if you include pre-market prices. AMC has struggled to break out over $60 right now. But yeah, but a lot of stocks are starting to turn green here. So we got Twilio, PayPal, NIO, we got Shopify, Nvidia, Corsair. And if you look at the specifics of the value sector, right? This is what I mentioned in our Discord. And this was very interesting because if you, let's take a value stock. Let's take a look at 3M, right? Ticker symbol MMM. What's happening? What is one thing that you guys can actually identify on this chart that's happening right now for 3M? Right? Let me know in the live chat if you guys can actually see it. What is one thing that you guys see for 3M stock right now that's happening? Outer Space, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for the comment. But let me know what you guys actually think about 3M and what's actually happening with the pattern at the moment. Marcus says all stocks trading higher except for Cathy's stocks. Not a big fan of her. I'm in the 1%. It's completely all right, you know. So NIO is gonna get everyone. We're gonna have 100% of actually of investors be profitable. But yes, so we are pulling back, right? So we are going down only because we're breaking down certain moving averages after forming a negative divergence. Now let me bring up 3 to 4 different value plays in front of you guys, right? That's exactly what's happening. So let's bring up Bank of America. BAC, another value stock, right? Yesterday, we saw almost a dip on the stock, right? Almost a dip. We kind of hovered over that 50 EMA, and this has been the pattern for a long time. But let's take a look at the RSI. Negative divergence, right? We're pushing higher on weaker and weaker breadth. It's only about time. It's only a matter of time that we see a breakdown for Bank of America below that 50 exponential moving average. In my opinion, that's going to be a drop below $41. Let's take a look at Caterpillar. Same thing happened, right? Caterpillar broke down significantly below those moving averages after a negative divergence here. So we were pushing higher, you know, a lot of support here from the 50 EMA, perfect validation, and then all of a sudden we break it down below those moving averages, right? Let's take a look at John Deere. It's going to be ticker symbol DE, Deere and Company. Same exact pattern, broke down below those moving averages, right? The 21 and the 50 EMA, historically, strong uptrend. Push higher, push higher. So this has been the pattern for most value companies, right? Just think about this. boom, 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 we're pushing higher, validating those moving averages. And this is more of a breakdown below the 21 and the 50 EMA, right? And it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, that IWD, which is the Value 1000 ETF, it's only a matter of time that we see a breakdown for this ETF as well, as people rotate away from value over to tech and growth, right? That's only a matter of time. We're only seeing a breakdown below the 21 EMA. I kid you not, I feel so confident that this may break down below to the downside. Only because of the negative divergence that we're consistently forming. We're going up on weaker and weaker breath, and I'm seeing a lot of weakness from the value sector. All right, so let's take a look at some of the stocks here. So look at Palantir. 3 really bullish candles here. So we're up a little bit over 1% here. Tesla is now up over 30 basis points. NEO is almost at $46, up another 1.6%. So that's a great question. So AA Docs asks, so the value play has run its course. It's a great question. It's kind of hard to judge, but based on my analysis here, I mean, think about the IWD, like coming in from November. This is November. This is not March or April of last year. Coming in from November, this ETF is up 42%, right? When you look at some of those stocks in the value space that are up that much, they have consistently validated these moving averages, the 21 and the 50 EMA. And this is the same exact pattern that was forming for a lot of tech and growth names until they broke down, and then since they have struggled to actually reverse that trend. So it's hard to say if they've run their course, but in my opinion, just based on the negative divergence, technically speaking, and the fact that we're hovering around that 50 EMA, if we do see a breakdown, considering the Caterpillar, Deere & Company, and Foot Locker was another one, FL, that actually also broke down, below its moving averages. So look at this, right? So it's almost starting to break down here on the RSI and the MACD divergence here. So we're almost starting to break down below those moving averages too. So Anito says my portfolio literally green keeps going. That's awesome. That is great. So yes, I did forget about UAA. Let's take a look. Under Armour. So right now what I'm seeing here is that there is some type of a support at closer to $20.63, and right now we are seeing a little bit of a breakdown from those levels. So this was kind of like the range within which we were trading for a really long time. So you'll notice that again, consolidation between that range, so horizontal resistance, horizontal support, and right now we are seeing a slight bit of a breakdown here for Under Armour. And I would not be surprised if we do get a retest of that 1850 levels. That is going to be the next support, aligned with that 200 simple moving average. So support level to watch for UAA is going to be 1850, and resistance at closer to 2065. So yeah, the next 3 quarters are going to be really intense, like Zach says. It's going to be very important for growth and tech names, only because not only earnings are coming up, we've got a lot of economic data, we got a lot of value plays potentially will rotate. We'll see if that actually does happen, but we'll see if they actually do rotate away from value over to tech and growth. Nvidia just keeps charging. There's absolutely no stopping Nvidia at this point. It's like Nvidia does not care what the Fed is doing, what the market is doing, what's going on in the world. Nvidia does not care. It's gonna keep making new all-time highs. It's gonna actually relax when it hits $800 a share. Nvidia is like, oh, the Fed's raising rates. I don't care. I'm gonna keep going up. It's up another 1.5%. New all-time highs. PayPal, Shopify also up. Shopify's had a huge run. So earn mostly long-term investing, but we do have swing trading as well. So we do swing trading and long-term investing. Enphase Energy, strong pick there. So we're up a little bit over 1% for Enphase Energy. Let's see a little bit of comments here. So, can you look at Airbnb and Boeing? Great recovery plays, similar chart too. So, one of the things that I will mention about recovery is a lot of it, the market is always forward looking. We're always looking into like 12, 18 months out. So recovery was priced in 6 months ago, right? People were starting to rotate into recovery 6 months ago. So, that's why we saw energy like ExxonMobil, Chevron, like trading at near all 52-week highs. We've seen Bank of America financials trading at near all-time highs, value companies trading and making new all-time highs. So that was already priced in my opinion. So I think the recovery play, unless it's severely, off the highs from its all-time highs, would not make sense in my opinion because it was already priced in a long time ago. So for Airbnb, I would watch like a $145 support and $155 resistance, kind of aligned with that 50 exponential moving average as well. So Anito, learned a lot from your knowledge, Caddy. Much appreciated, and so glad that I joined the Patreon very first open. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And I'm glad that you find a lot of value from the videos and the Patreon. So thank you so much for that message. I appreciate you. So for Airbnb, I would watch a support at closer to. All right, so AMD is actually breaking out over $82. That's a resistance that we talked about, but 145 is going to be the support, and resistance at closer to 154 for Airbnb. Toronto Dave, thanks. Gotta run meetings. Good luck with that meeting. No problem. Feel free to tune in, whenever you feel free. But again, good luck on that meeting. All right, so AMD is up a little bit over 2.5%. We're seeing Tesla up about 30 basis points, and NIO is validating those moving averages. So the 21 and the 50 exponential moving average. We just made a new high of day, and we're just trading shy of $46 per share. So let's see. How to know what to buy long term? Can I join YouTube? So I've got the Patreon link up top, Arun. So if you want to get those trade alerts, you can certainly take a look at that and join our private group if you want to get those alerts and swing trading opportunities that I post on our Patreon. And of course, you'll get access to our private live streams that we do and the Trading View charts as well. So the link is going to be pinned at the very top if you wish to join. So let's take a look at AMD over here. So we're almost seeing a breakout over this bullish flag. Again, this was the complete trade plan that we posted over the weekend. We'll see if we actually do get a successful breakout. $84 is the next resistance to watch. I'm actually going to add some more AMD a little bit right now. And again, if it comes down to $74, this is not a swing trade for me. This is more of a long-term position. I'll be more inclined to adding more to my position. So again, if this is a swing trade, you gotta have like a stop loss in place. You gotta have a perfect trade plan that you're forming or that you're following through with. But since this is more of a long-term position for me, I don't mind kind of adding more because again, my intrinsic value that I've calculated for AMD is well over $110 per share. All right, so we're gonna just purchase about 20 shares. All right, give me 1 second here. All right. All right, perfect. AMD. All right. All right, let's take a look at Coinbase. Not sure if it's actually trading higher or. So coin is slightly up about 25 basis points, but we can take a look at that one. Marcus says coin is such a joke. Yeah, so this was a bit of a, this is also a swing trade for us. You know, again, this is more of a long-term investment for myself, but I posted this swing trade idea. Again, if you guys want to get access to all of those, the Patreon link is going to be down in the description. But right now we are again getting rejected at those moving averages, right? The 21 EMA is a level that the bulls are not able to break out over. It's the resistance right now. And again, the pattern is developing, so you'll notice that we don't really have anything to look at other than the 21 EMA on the daily chart, because the RSI is still developing, the MACD is still developing. We don't have the 50 or the 200 SMA. So that right there is going to be the resistance level to watch. And if you go over the shorter time frames, the 4-hour or the 1-hour chart, you'll notice that that we do have the 50 EMA also on the chart, where we have previously gone rejected. This right here was some type of a breakout at play, but then Bitcoin once again dropped below 40,000. Yes, I'll change that title here right now. Edit. Stocks are going higher. I love it. So yeah, so Coinbase, you know, Bitcoin prices are very going to be determined based on their supply and demand, but then Coinbase is also going to be trading off of those levels. I do believe that there's a breakout to the upside coming, like $250 is kind of like the target near term that I have. We were on our way there, but again, Bitcoin once again coming down below 40,000. So we are now down to 38,800 once again. So I think that was causing Coinbase to actually come down even further. But nonetheless, you know, it's got a support at 217. That's a really strong support level to watch. And we've already moved up the trailing stop loss if you're already in this as a swing trade. But if it does come to 217 or even come down to 208, those are buying opportunities for myself for this stock. All right, so NEO is up a little bit over 2.6%. We got AMD that's up over 3% here. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple is up about 30 basis points, and Tesla is up about 84 basis points right now. So we are seeing a little bit of a push higher for tech. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. There we go. So the NASDAQ is up over 33 basis points, with the S&P down about 44 basis points. So, you know, I really strongly believe that this is a little bit different than what we have seen in the past. And again, the reason why I want to reiterate that is because if you go over to the daily chart, for some of the value sector plays, they are not bouncing off their moving averages, right? They're actually, in fact, forming some type of a negative divergence, and they're on the brink of having some type of a breakdown below those moving averages. So, like, it's very clear that the IWD ETF, which is the value ETF, you know, it's down 36 basis points. But when you look at IWF, which is the growth ETF, you know, that's up 32 basis points. So it's very, very apparent as to what's happening here, right? It's very clear. And the reason why I say that is that why it's this time it's different is because, again, you know, we're seeing a negative divergence here. We're almost trading at that 50 EMA, and this was the exact uptrend for the value ETF. We've just been consistently pushing higher, pushing higher. You know, perfect validation of that 50 EMA here, perfect validation of that 50 EMA here, almost a validation of that 50 EMA here. Now the real question is, and I want your guys' participation, is this going to be another here? Is this going to be another dip buying opportunity for the value ETF? Is this going to be another validation of that 50 EMA, that support, and then we're going to potentially see something, you know, something like we come back down, validate, and start pushing higher to make new all-time highs? Or what we're going to see is a potential, you know, breakdown to actually reverse the trend for the first time in over a year. What do you guys think? I do think that the chat may be delayed a little bit. Yeah, I think the chat is delayed by a couple minutes. That's why I'm not getting like immediate responses, and I get like responses all of a sudden. So NEO is back up over $46. We are up over 2.6% for NEO stock. So Roshan Nish, I do apologize for the mispronunciation. So Roshan Nisha, thank you so much for that comment. I really appreciate you as well. And yeah, you guys are the best. So all right, so Vulcan says, in my opinion, will go down, break out higher. Atul says, Zach says, hard to say, value is due for a downward trend. Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. It doesn't have to play out exactly how I feel, but considering the negative divergence here that we're seeing, I would not be surprised if you do see a breakdown. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate the donation. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll definitely break down any stocks that you want, as a result of the donation here. All right, so the Nasdaq is up. Let's take a look at the yields. We're gonna add the yields here to our chart, just so we have all three side by side. And the 10-year yields are down. So yep, we're down about 1.73%. Let me just add the VIX as well. We're gonna add 4 charts. All right, so this is the VIX, and we're down pretty heavily, right? 4.6%. That's a pretty steep drop right after the open. Again, that's the drop that we're seeing from the VIX. We did touch highs of 19 levels, and now we're coming down pretty aggressively. So Dave says, NEO, buy. Yeah, we did do some buying yesterday when it was down a little bit over 2%. Again, if it comes down to $43 or $40, those are 2 support levels that I've identified, right? Those are the levels to watch very closely. My price target for NEO for 2021 is $75. I think it's very reasonable. That's going to be an 80% increase from our March lows, or from our middle of May lows. And depending on how they actually do with deliveries and everything else moving forward, then we can see anything north of $100 moving forward. What's your take on UPST? Upstart, that's a great question. I've actually been looking into that stock myself, just in the middle of doing some fundamental analysis on the company. I know that they're branching out into the auto industry. Right now, they're more so into the personal loans. They've been growing like crazy. But this right here is the complete technical analysis I have so far. It's I'm waiting for $109. That's the level that I have pegged on my chart here. That's going to be kind of aligned with this higher low. And I'm more than okay with just being a little bit more patient for this stock to see if we do get a retest of that level where I can actually start kind of building out a position if the fundamentals do make sense for this company. But eventually, I do see a push higher of 55%, back up to 170, kind of consolidate in this range, and eventually break out over this ascending support or the higher lows that we're seeing, or the ascending triangle, so to speak, right? So horizontal resistance here for Upstart, ascending support here, and eventually, in my opinion, we could see a breakout over this level. But I'd wait for $109. That's the support level that we're watching. At least I'm watching for this company. So support at 109, resistance stays put at closer to 170. All right, so we got all the charts here. This is the SPY on the very left. This is the Nasdaq in the middle with the yields coming down aggressively. We're down a little bit over 2.6%. It's funny because if you look at the yields chart, right, this is the chart that we broke down in our yesterday's market update. You'll notice that the yields actually have this pattern of making lower highs and lower lows. We're trading inside this range. So, it's very apparent that we pushed up, come down, push up, come down, push up, come back down, push up. And right now what we're seeing is that we're hitting the higher end of that downtrending channel right here, and we're seeing a little bit of a breakdown or a sell-off in the yields once again. So if this pattern continues, that's potentially going to bode well for the markets in general, for Nasdaq and tech more specifically. But that right there is going to be the trend for the yields. All right, let's take a look at this. So NEO is up a little bit, almost 3%. Palantir bouncing off that middle VWAP perfectly, almost making high of days. We're gonna set some alerts at 2110 for Palantir. And for NEO, we're actually going to set an alert at closer to 46.45, 46.50 levels. The last couple of days we did see some type of a pullback or a somewhat of a reasonable correction of about 3% from NEO, which was very normal. But now we are seeing a bit of a push higher once again. So Apple up about 53 basis points. And AMD is up over 3%. So we are seeing that push higher from AMD as well. Let's take a look at Amazon. Where's that trading? So back up over 34.20 levels, up about 25 basis points. Yeah, so difference between 610, 571, 575 is peanuts compared to inevitable growth later. Yes, so Tesla's growth, I mean, there's no doubt there's going to be a lot of growth in the future for Tesla. So, all right, no words are enough for your hard work. I've sent you a private message at our Patreon, and thank you so much for responding. Helps a lot. Thank you so much. I'll definitely get back to the message. I spend a lot of hours going over to every single person's questions and messages on both Patreon and Discord. So, I've mentioned please allow at least 24 hours. I will definitely get back to you, but there may be a little bit delays because of the incoming volume that we're getting. But I will definitely, most certainly, get back to each and every person. Either on Patreon or on Discord. All right, so the market's looking healthier in terms with respect to tech and growth. Fubo TV is up over 5.8%. We've got Trade Desk that's up over 3.75. AMD is up, NEO, Nvidia, PayPal, Shopify. Let's take a look at DraftKings. So DraftKings is also up on a strong uptrend, up about 1%. All right, let's take a look at VRTX for Mark very quickly. So, Mark, I was doing some research on this. I had a support pegged at 190. I didn't feel comfortable setting up a trade plan on this because, I was like, it may break down below this level, and it's now trading at 186. So, this is kind of like a head and shoulders pattern for VRTX that I identified. So, you'll notice kind of a very clear head and shoulders pattern, right? So lower highs from this here. So left shoulder ahead, right shoulder breakdown below the neckline. This is most certainly gearing up for a reversal. With the RSI, the MACD so oversold. There's definitely opportunity here, but we have to be a little bit patient, in my opinion, with our entry. Only because we're breaking down some type of a trend, and what really needs to happen is that the price needs to kind of form a base. It needs to stabilize a little bit before seeing a push higher once again to at least retrace back up to some of those moving averages and back over $200 per share. So Nee says, love your live streams. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Feel free to join. We probably do this like 2 or 3 times a week. Anytime that there's like significant catalysts coming up from the macros. But yeah, the Nasdaq. Look at the charge here, up over 45 basis points, and the yields continue to pull back. And the VIX is also coming down slightly, about 4.4%. All right, so Tesla is seeing a little bit of a revalidation or retest of that 21 EMA. That's the white line, top right. This right here is going to be DraftKings. We are once again testing our moving averages here, and so is NEO. We'll see if that level again acts as support. So previously, we got a perfect validation here, and now, if you were a day trader, that would be a support for you, right? You'll have a really tight stop loss right underneath, and even as low as the middle VWAP to see if that level gets validated for a potential back test of that resistance or the high of day closer to 46,633. Michael Mayer says, Caddy, AMD, my brother. Yeah, so we went over this earlier, but we can keep that chart on the bottom left here, as we are up a little bit over 3.5%. So let's take a look at Citibank or Greg. All right, so Citibank is another example, right? Citibank is another example, and I honestly should not have actually played or that was like an idea. So we had an idea on Caterpillar, right? So right now we are down. For Caterpillar, it's down a little bit over 1.6%. We had a stop loss right under 216 and only risking about less than 1%. So, it's really important to have stop losses in place, whether you are swing trading or day trading. It's like rule number one, to always have an exit strategy when you are trading in general. If it's a long-term investing, then you have more flexibility that you can add more shares if it comes down. You have your price levels set where you want to add, where your profit targets are. But Caterpillar, it did break down below this trend. And this is the beginning of when tech broke down below its trend, right? That's what we are seeing for value now. And it's the same thing with Citigroup, right? It's the same pattern with Bank of America. So I'm not sure if it actually is breaking down now, but we're almost there. We're down about 1%. And, we're almost testing our 50 EMA. But when we talk about Citigroup, you'll notice a very similar pattern. We're breaking down below this 50 EMA. And this is the first time, the pattern's breaking down since November of 2020. Since then, we were just on a consistent uptrend. Which is why, if you look at what makes up energy, if you look at what makes up banks and value sector, all of them are forming the same exact pattern, right? I can show you 5 patterns right now that are forming the same exact thing where they're breaking down below those moving averages. All right, let's take a look at Micron. So Micron is still struggling a little bit at those moving averages. You'll notice that 21 EMA, 50 EMA is still, we're fighting that resistance here. $74 is a really strong support. I would watch Marco, so that's going to be the level to watch for Micron. If you were to add anything on this, or if it's a long-term play or a swing trade, that's also going to be aligned with that 200 simple moving average. So right now the 200 SMA is sitting roughly at 73.20. And over time, as we develop more prices, I could see that level get aligned with that 74.50 level. All right, so AMD is breaking out over $83. Yes, so Roshnina, $213. So in my opinion, that's a stop loss getting triggered for Caterpillar. We already had that in place, and the next support level to watch for Caterpillar is going to be 209. Very quickly, Micron 74.50 is going to be the support level. Resistance is going to be aligned with that price point at closer to $83 per share. So let's go over to Caterpillar. So Caterpillar was a swing trade that we were not right on, because we were expecting some type of a knee-jerk reaction, or at least a retest of those 50 EMA. But since value is now starting to really take a hit here, like we talked about how the IWD ETF, we are breaking down below that 216 support. So the next level to watch is going to be $209 per share. This stock does have a reversal trade in the future, but that would be us kind of fighting that trend, and that's my bad. That's kind of like what I was not able to read perfectly on Caterpillar, is because we did see a breakdown pretty significantly on Caterpillar, and right now we are coming down to 209. So it's kind of us fighting that trend because we're looking for a reversal trade. Reversal trade is a little bit more challenging to actually do or perform, as opposed to going along with the trend, which is already trending up, right? So right now the selling pressure for value is a little bit heavier as opposed to any type of buying pressure or a swing trade opportunity on this. So 209 is going to be the next support level, but we are going to have to wait and see where the price actually does stabilize. We did see some stabilization for a few days here at 216, but didn't quite get the buying pressure that we needed to actually push it back up to 50 or the 21 EMA back to that $230 resistance, right? So that's going to be the quick breakdown for Caterpillar. Next support to watch is going to be 209. And now the resistance is going to turn to 216 because we are seeing a breakdown below that support. So, all right, let's take a look at SPCE. Not sure where that's trading. All right, so Virgin Galactic is also breaking out over this resistance. We're now starting to form some type of a bull flag here, where we are just starting to go consolidate sideways. And we're just hovering over that support at closer to 36.85. So again, a strong move for the upside from Virgin Galactic on all these test flights that they have. We got all the moving averages sitting perfectly below that support, and right now we are seeing a little bit of a consolidation from Virgin Galactic. So support level to watch is going to be sitting roughly at closer to 36.50. for SPCE. And the resistance is actually there's going to be a near-term resistance closer to 30 and 50 levels. And again, the reason is because, you know, previous resistance, we're just getting rejected here from June 9th. All right, let's take a look at some of the stocks here. So AMD is now the high for the day, 83.14. Didn't quite get up to as high as $84, but we are still up a little bit over 3% for AMD. NEO is still validating that 50 the middle VWAP actually. The middle VWAP is going to be that yellow line. And Tesla also hovering right at that middle VWAP here. So almost identical patterns for Tesla and NEO, right? Same exact pattern that we're seeing right now intraday. So push higher, pull back, push higher, pull back, break out to the upside, break out to the upside. Right now we're seeing a little bit of a revalidation. So it's important for that middle VWAP to hold up. If not, then we could see some more pullbacks for that. Greg, thank you so much for that donation. I really appreciate that. So Palantir is up slightly over 20 basis points still. And this right here is going to be the complete breakdown. So S&P pulling back over 19 basis points. And QQQ is up about 33 basis points, with the yields coming down over 2. And the VIX is, all right, so the VIX is now up a little bit, up from where we were like a few minutes ago, like 30 minutes ago. So we were down over 4%. Now we're only down about 2.5%. Twilio is on the move too. Look at that. So we're up almost 4% on Twilio. This right here is going to be the breakdown. So, all right, what I like to call like the horse race, and what we're seeing actually win out on the day. So tech, no surprise, is leading. So that's going to be the leading sector, XLK. So that's going to be this all the way at the top. We're pushing higher for XLK here, but every other sector like financials are the ones that are taking the biggest hit here, as of course the yields come down. So you'll notice those two are the yields and the financial sector, and followed by energy, industrials that are also down, you know, equally, down about 60 to 80 basis points, and then everything else like healthcare, discretionary, staples, communication services, pretty much flat on the day, up just about 17 basis points or so. All right, so we're seeing a little bit of a validation here from the middle VWAP for both Tesla and NEO. So there we go. We're seeing that breakout over that 21 EMA once again. For NEO stock, back up over $46, and for Tesla, back up over 608 from that 21 EMA as well. So Michael, that's a great question. How does the VIX work? So let's just put this chart into two, and let's talk about the S&P 500 here. Let's put up the VIX over here. So once and for all, I'm going to give a very detailed explanation. So the volatility index is simply the volatility on the S&P 500. You can actually trade the VIX too. You can trade, you know, call options, put options, whatever the case may be. But this is a good indication on the volatility on the S&P 500. It's the same corresponding to VXN, which is the volatility on the NASDAQ 100, right? The VIX is for the S&P, the VXN is for the NASDAQ. Now, if you go over to the weekly chart here, you'll notice that every time the VIX has actually spiked, we've seen a pullback in the S&P 500. So this right here, this week, on January 25th, the VIX was up over 51%. Let's go over here, find January 25th, right? So that's going to be January 25th. That right there is going to be the week of January 25th. So they almost trade in opposite directions. Like trade as in if one thing spikes, if the VIX spikes, the S&P goes down. And that week, the S&P was down over 3.3%, right? This right here was another time on October 26th. We saw a spike of over 38% for the volatility. October 28th, let's just go back. So October 26th. So October 26th, not the 28th, but 26th here was a spike of over 38%, and the S&P dropped over 5.6%. And the same works in the opposite direction too. This right here was a drop in the volatility of over 34%, and that week the S&P jumped over 7%. So if we can understand the direction for the volatility index, which is the VIX itself, then we can get a good understanding on the S&P 500. So right now you're seeing this week is in play, and the VIX is up over 12% this week, and the S&P is actually down 76 basis points. Now the degree at which they go up and down is not correlated 1-to-1. It's not like if the VIX goes up 1%, the S&P goes down 1%. It's actually a different degree. I forgot what the number or the ratio is, but it's a different correlation. So it doesn't mean, that's why when the VIX jumped over 500% here during the global pandemic, this was the whole jump, coming in from 13 all the way to highs of over 85. That's over 554% jump. The S&P dropped 35%, right? That's the correlation. So right now you'll notice the historical pattern for the VIX, and we've talked about it. Let me actually pull that chart up. So this right here is going to be the VIX indicator that we looked at on the daily chart and the analysis on it. So earlier there was a support at closer to 20 levels for the VIX. You'll notice that historically we've just been validating that support once, twice here, 3 times. We've just been trading above 20 levels. So every time the VIX actually traded, I'll have to use a different color here. So I'm going to use the black color. Alright, so every time we actually come down to this 20 level, we spiked, right? Every time we come down to 20, we spiked. Every time we come down to 20, we spiked. Now moving forward, what you'll notice is that we actually broke it down below this 20 levels, and we formed a new support at close to 16 or closer to 15.8. That was a level that we talked about in our previous update. So you'll notice same exact thing happened. We came down to this 15 levels and then we spiked. We came down to this level, and now is what we were focusing on, that we need to be alerted because we could see a spike once again to 19, 20 levels. And when that happens, the S&P comes down. This can also be seen as an indication that if we do see a breakdown below 15 levels, that's an indication or like a signal to go long on the S&P 500, because we're seeing a significant breakdown from the volatility index. And what happens when the VIX goes down? The S&P goes up. So hopefully that was detailed enough to get a good understanding on the differences between the volatility index and how that works in relation to the S&P 500. And of course, it's the same correlation with the NASDAQ and the VIX, right? Or NASDAQ and the VXN. So they work in the same correlation with each other. So if the VXN goes up, the NASDAQ comes down. Alright, so let's go back up to QQQs, and slightly up about 0.5% here. And this right here is going to be the complete chart. So Zach, Caddy, why did you get involved in the market the way you are? I don't know if I understand the question, but the markets, I mean, in general, like I just love, a lot of reading and technical analysis and just analysis in general. It's just that the environment is changing so much, and that's what I love about the markets, is that, no one day can be actually the same. It's just like new stuff every time. Michael, thank you so much for that comment. I really, really appreciate that. So hopefully the video is working and I'm not getting any type of a lag. If you are, I'm just gonna have to reload. Let me know in the live chat if it's working without any issues. So what I'm sorry for the mispronunciation. So as me, Kevin quits from the daily live stream, a lot of people might rotate to you, and you deserve it for sure. Did he really quit the live streams? I used to really enjoy the live streams when I wasn't live. I think he does a great job in going over a lot of different things. And yeah, and a lot of respect, and he's definitely providing a lot of value. But yeah, I didn't know that he's not doing those anymore. Alright, so hopefully it's working. I don't know why it's just giving me like an error and something once again. But hopefully the internet is working. Like your 5 frames per second. Alright, hopefully this works. Yeah, I don't know why this stream quality just gets poor. Alright, so NEO is actually breaking out over 3%, so we did get a perfect validation from that 50 exponential moving average. So Nasir says you should definitely go live, market open, and close. I can do market open. Closing gets a little bit tough for me, only because of the time difference. So, you know, by the time the market's closed, it's like 3 in the morning here. And 3 in the morning, I'm like usually sleeping. But yeah, so, you know, definitely market opens. I'll try to do them almost every day here. Alright, so NEO's definitely making high of day, 46.46. And Tesla is up just about 1% here. Palantir breaking out over $25. And AMD is also up over 3.5%, just shy of $83 per share. Yes, I was on Wi-Fi, but I did switch over to an Ethernet, but it's still not working. It's still giving me errors. Yeah, look at NVIDIA. Oh my god. Oh my god. 3%. Oh, this is just... What do you guys think? This is just incredible move from NVIDIA. I mean, you know, we talked about it during our market update, how 750 is the target, like inside this, you know, higher highs and higher lows, so like inside this uptrend. That's the target to watch. It's closer to $750. And of course, with the stock split news, we're seeing some strong moves to the upside, double breakout over this bullish pennant. So, you know, we're pushing higher, bullish flag, breakout, bullish flag, breakout. And it's just... Alright guys, I do apologize. I may have to cut the live stream because it's not working properly. I don't know what the hell is going on. It's just so frustrating. It's seriously so frustrating. It always is. Like, I have no idea why this thing just not works. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. If you did, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out the channel and the YouTube algorithm so we can get more and more people involved with our community, get them joined with our live stream, and kind of have a more engaged community of investors. As always, make sure that you check out the Webull and the Patreon links down in the description below as well. Thank you so much for joining in. So, alright, so again, I'm gonna cut the live stream because I'm having like a lot of issues with the internet.